Welcome back, Bravehearts, to the Infinite Healing Q&A, okay, with Terry Mullins. Now, we're going to be talking about infinite healing because before I go any further, I want to say this. We just don't get it, okay? What we see is not as important to what we don't see. The invisible has always created the physical. E equals mc squared, Einstein. Energy creates mass. So we create things out of nothing. This is why you need an imagination. This is why you need to totally love and care for yourself. You need to fill up your own heart, to bring up your frequency, to bring up your vibration, to bring up your imagination, to take your world back. Now, why am I saying this? Well, guess what? You know, there's products and then there's products. Every product has a vibration. We know that. Some have a higher vibration, some have a lower vibration. And we also know this, just like eating, you know what, if I sit down and I go to eat a meal, okay? And I go and I take a bite of that meal. And then I chew that meal until that meal is a liquid and as smallest particle as possible. I'm going to assimilate it so much better. I'm going to need to eat less to be more. Eat less, be more. Eat less, be more. Okay? Have more energy, have more health, more clarity, because guess what? Everything you've ever eaten or drank has left your body. Not one physical thing has ever stayed in your body. So then we know that the physical doesn't create the physical. It's the invisible that creates the physical, which is the light energy that's in any product. What if I were to tell you that, Nascent iodine was great at the time, still is. Lugol's iodine is a great product too, but it can blow your thyroid out. If you take too much of it, it'll blow your thyroid out. If you don't do too much of it, then it's not going to balance your thyroid, parathyroid. That's not cool. We know that iodine is the greatest disinfector for the human body. Okay, that's why I like living near the ocean. Lots of natural iodine comes off, but guess what? But here's the deal. What if you could get an iodine that was totally pure? What if you get an iodine that was thousands of times smaller than nano, okay? All right? And we're not even talking pico, but 10,000 times smaller than pico, which is theta. What if you could take that iodine and you could take that iodine and you could nebulize it and you could restore your lungs? What if you could clean out your sinuses? What if that iodine actually goes past the blood-brain barrier and can go in and disinfect your brain? What if it could go into every part of your body? What if you had something like we call cancer, which is just inflammation blown out, and you took enough of that iodine that it disinfected, reduced the inflammation, reduced the infection to help you get your immune system to turn something around called cancer? And it's not because iodine cures, because nothing cures. All products and all things that you do that are in a positive way, they help to realign you. Nothing cures you. You're just out of alignment. What if you could get back into alignment? And that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about infinite iodine, which is the only pure iodine on the planet. It's totally natural. And guess what? You can't take enough to actually cause toxic problems. And it doesn't have any negative symptoms, nothing that I've seen. And when I tell you that this infinite iodine flies off the shelf. We have iodine, we have iodide, but I'm going to let Terry talk about it because Terry invented it. And I'm just the guy that talks about it. How you doing, Terry?
I'm doing good, Daryl. How are you doing?
Amazing.
Yeah, just so that you know, I'm in Jamaica right now. I'm hoping we have a good enough signal. There's a big storm coming in off the coast, so I'm hoping it doesn't get sketchy, but we'll continue on. But if it gets a little sketchy, you know what it is.
I get it.
Wonderful introduction, Daryl. Okay, you always give wonderful introductions. And infinite iodine, people actually, there's a lot of marketing out there with different technologies and different products. But knowledge, to me, is far more important than a marketing campaign, because people can say a lot of wonderful things, but the knowledge base and the real science has been done with iodine for over 200 years. And with that, we inherently know that it's something we need once we know about it. And you're a champion out there for us in the iodine world, Daryl, and it's wonderful because the education, I think, is key. And once you have the education and the knowledge, then it's up to yourself to take the action.
Absolutely.
And that's what you're always sort of, on is you have to actually do something.
Massive personal action. We forgot about that, Terry.
We have. So with that said, iodine, infinite iodine, I look at it like it's a freedom product. And it's a really easy way to describe it. Because we've been locked down. There's all kinds of issues going on globally because of the microbial world. And the microbial world has been around long before us. It's going to be around long after us. But the fact is, our inner universe is loaded with bacteria, viruses, and things that are living with us every day that we've been able to survive since the beginning of time. And the only aspect of our body that can really help us survive through the microbial wars and battles that we go through is our immune system. Very simple. If you can get vaccine, you can get all these wonderful things done to you, and they're promoting more vaccines because of variants today. But the fact is, the vaccines are only trying to do one thing, which is to train your immune system to produce antibodies.
Excuse me, Terry, just so you know, my audience, they don't think vaccines are wonderful, but just so you know, okay? So I want to make that perfectly clear. Yes. I am Dr. Daryl Wolf, and I do not think vaccines are wonderful, but go ahead, Terry. And so, when you can prove me scientifically that vaccines are wonderful, I'm on board, but go ahead.
All right. Let me step back 100 years when we first started to produce vaccines. And the reality is, vaccine is a term that was coined literally over 100 years ago that defines a certain product that is being produced to do something, and they coined the term vaccine.
I know, and they stole it and they twisted it. Thank you, sir.
Yes. So when I speak of vaccines, I talk about something that has been going on for 80, 90, 100 years that science and chemistry and people have been working with. But there's also been an evolution over the last 10 to 15 to 20 years, which is dealing with synthetics because of the I guess our new understanding of the computer world and how fast things can happen and how things can be done with a computer by comparison to our own brains. And there's arguments there because oddly enough, the vaccines being produced today are being generated by a computer. That's how they're being generated. And these are these types of vaccines. But that aside, the whole intent of the program is to actually train our immune system to produce antibodies. And there's several ways we can do it. And we do it naturally every day.
But if I can say something, Terry, and everybody out there, you get rid of viruses, you get rid of life on this planet. A virus is something natural that gets spewed out, crapped out by your cells, and how much gets crapped out, spewed out will depend on how much you love and care for yourself, because it's a waste product. Okay.
So with that said, the beauty of infinite iodine, when we call it a freedom product, is iodine is essentially nature's killer. Iodine is used in nature to protect certain things in nature, and humans, we're just one of these things in nature. So we've been able to figure out over 200 years how important iodine and iodide is in our system. All of that work has been done, and you and I have talked hours and hours and hours about it. The benefits are there. The difference is that what we're presenting here is a safe technology in the 21st century with the very best delivery mechanism for it so that your body can absorb it and use it to its maximum potential.
Terry, can you do me a favor? I don't mean to cut you off because you've got so much great things to say, but can you tell people what happened when they took iodine out of the diet? So there is the greatest scientific proof right there, from weight gain to thyroid problems to you name it. There's a whole slew, but tell them what happened.
There is. Well, to give you a little bit of history, in the late 1800s, iodine was put onto table salt. And there was a reason why it was put there, because from a health perspective, we didn't have enough iodide in our diet. And this spice was something that was being moved around the world at the time and consumed by most nations. So that made sense to deliver it that way. The problem is the amount that goes into the salt is a very, very minor amount, number one. And it's also not a stable delivery device over time because there's issues with salt when it starts to travel and expire based on age. But with that, people have lost the understanding when they see iodized table salt. What it does for us, they don't know. And what we're actually trying to do, and what we're promoting here, is to say, understand, it was put onto table salt. When it came into America in the early 1900s, it was not only in salt, it was added to bread, it was added to milk, and it was added to beer. And that was sort of a stable where we could take it within our diet from across the range on an ongoing basis. And that went on from the 1920s, 30s, up until the 1970s. And in the 1970s, they decided they were going to take iodide out of bread, and they replaced it with a bromide product, which essentially is a thyroid blocker versus something that's beneficial for your thyroid. And we can get into the importance of the thyroid and why these things were done. But what's happened is the question you're asking is from the 1970s until today, there's been massive health issues that have started to plague us because we don't have enough iodide in our diet.
Thank you.
And
can I say something?
Yes.
I know you're on a roll every time, but everybody start putting your questions in here because this is a live Q&A day. And I want to hit a couple of really important things. Continue with your talk, but also not to cut you off, but can you please tell people how important it is for a pregnant mother and a newborn to have iodine? I think that's really important. Okay.
Well, and that's essentially where I was leading up to, because the importance is with this in our we want our bodies to function properly. This is a staple and a must-have in our diet for our bodies to function properly and for us to live a normal, healthy life. And what happens is if mom, for example, doesn't have enough iodide in her diet, it's getting to the point in America where infertility is becoming an issue. So a baby can't be formed unless there's enough iodide in mom's bloodstream. That's the first thing. Now, if there's insufficient iodide in mom's bloodstream, the baby is going to be conceived. The first things that happen are you're talking about the nervous system, the skeletal structure, and brain development right away. So if there's not enough iodide in mom, the child is now going to go from being 100% perfect baby being born to several percentage points less across the board. And there's absolutely no reason for that. And that's strictly education. So what they've done is they've tried to educate women, and they put a prenatal program together with supplements in it. One of those is an iodide supplement. And unfortunately, that education hasn't actually gone from the doctors to the moms, pregnant moms saying, this is why you need this. And this is the importance, not only for yourself, but also for the child. So it'd be really nice to, be born at 100% versus something less. And it is just something very, very simple in your diet that we can take in. And in the case of iodine and iodide, it's not readily available for our diet. So,
and if I can say something, Terry, just so you know, everyone, don't believe me, but the same people that are promoting the C and the V are the same ones that do not want this iodine, especially infinite iodine or iodide, to get out to you. Because the reality is that the more that you have this product, okay, the more conscious you are. Did you get that? And when you don't get iodine, you walk around in an unconscious state. And that's a fact. You can ask anybody who has low thyroid, okay? Ask anybody who burnt out their adrenals. Ask anybody if they've got clarity. You're not going to have clarity if you don't do iodine. And understand something, iodine, like Terry said, is the greatest disinfector, but understand this. Our molecular size is smaller than any other iodine on the market. Go ahead, Terry.
Yep. So I guess to just sort of continue along the path there, because there's a couple of important issues that we're hitting here. Children are our future. And this is something that's very simple to be able to help the whole family. So, from your perspective and your audience's perspective and who we're speaking to, a lot of them are women, childbearing age, have children or are going to have children. This is critical to be taken every day. So it's not a matter of, if I'm thinking of get pregnant, maybe I should take the product. This is something that you need every day for the rest of your life. And that's the education. And it's up to people to take the action, because we've been able to put this out in the very simplest format, in a spray format that's 100% bioavailable. It's not a difficult thing to do. So from that perspective, the simplicity of it, the application that we have in order to actually deliver it into our system is by far the very best we can have. Now, something Daryl was pointing on, when I was younger and Daryl and I were both in high school together, for example, it was 1 in 2,000 children had autism. And it was very rare. Well, unfortunately, over the past 60 years, autism has started to climb to its between, call it 1 in 40 or 1 in 60, depending on who you're speaking with at the time. And now the doctors are trying to figure out this is a nutritional issue, and it's growing. And they're actually starting to put the links together, because if iodine and iodide are really important in our system from a brain development perspective, and they know this, well, connect the dots. If you don't have enough, here are the brain issues that you're going to have. Here's the psychological issues that you're going to have because you're not fully formed. And I say fully formed, it's just going to get to the point where your 100% might be 90% of a real scale. And from that perspective, it's not something that has to happen to us. So the education really has to, and moms and women educate men. I have to tell you, Daryl is an exception in the world where he actually talks to a wide audience but he's very direct. And that's something that Daryl, I have to commend you on. You're very direct in your presentations, and there is no deviating. The fact is, we do need to take care of ourselves. This thing is a freedom product. And when I say that, I'm on vacation right now down in the Caribbean. Okay, for example, everybody's wearing masks. They have curfews here that you can't go out after 6 o'clock at night because apparently the virus, it seems to go to bed after a certain hour, but you have to stay in the house. So, and people walk around resorts that have masks on, but then they go out to eat in restaurants and take the mask off.
And you know what? I'm going to tell you something. The one thing that this whole thing, the C thing, really relayed to me, that you are as dumb as your beliefs, or you are as smart as your beliefs, you're as healthy as your beliefs, or you're as sick as your belief. And let me tell you something, there's a lot of sick people out there because they have dumb beliefs. And the reality is the logic of a human being is absent today. And I'm not trying to pick on anyone, because guess what? You're all responsible to wake up and understand you were created by what? That created the universe. Why are we acting as if our body doesn't heal and we can't think?
So I put on my science hat now, Daryl. Now we're going to talk about iodine and iodide for a minute. So infinite iodine is a 100% natural product. It is the purest pharmaceutical grade iodine in the world. And we've been able to use water as a carrier molecule, nothing else. So within that, that's an exceptional product to be able to offer out to the public. Now,
no alcohol.
There's no alcohol, there's no compounds, there's no chemicals, there's nothing in it other than in its purest natural form.
Absolutely.
So from that perspective, our body can actually absorb it to its maximum potential. Now, the interesting thing is that from a science perspective, iodine has been known to be one of the best disinfectants in the world, if not the best. And the medical industry has been using that for over 100 years. And prior to that, they were using it in the basic form as best they could. So the understanding of iodine as a disinfectant, it'll kill viruses, it'll kill bacteria. And actually, when it goes through the killing process, unlike chlorine or a chlorine product or an ozone, or peroxide, those burn things up. This doesn't. So when you're actually spraying iodine, whether it's on a surface in the air, in the back of your throat, or on your body, it's actually going to deactivate a virus. And it doesn't matter if it's a mutant of an original or not. At this point, there's nothing that stands up to iodine. Or in the bacterial world, the same thing. The beauty, Daryl, of this is iodine is the only product from nature that leaves these microbes intact. And there's, from my perspective, on the health side, one reason, so that our systems can recognize them. So the term vaccine, I don't like. What I actually like is a term it's an antibody activated, is what we're looking for in our systems. So Absolutely. if you want to activate your immune system in order to produce antibodies, provide the right materials for that to happen. And if we can do it in a 100% natural way, now we're actually moving in the right direction. So when iodine interacts with something at the back of your throat, for example, it kills it and leaves it intact. Your body's able to recognize it, do the job it needs to do. Now, that is a wonderful feature that there's nothing else in the world that can do this. And yet, the secondary nature of this is once it's done its job as a disinfectant, as an I2 powerful molecule, it breaks down into an iodide. And the iodide is the micronutrient form that we desperately have to have in our diet every day in our bloodstream so that your thyroid can extract it and put it in.
Every day. Now, you need to get this, everybody. You only need a tiny bit every day, okay, to create the perfect day with the things that iodine does. And I'll tell you something right now, Terry, you'll go through those things that it does, because there's so many things. It is, okay, there's two things that do most of the communication in the human body. You know what they are? Calcium ions and iodine ions. And now if you don't have iodine ions, then you're missing a big part of this puzzle. Go ahead, Terry.
Yep. So the importance of, and most people don't understand their thyroids unless they've got some type of a thyroid issue, because the average person has no clue. You can ask somebody, how strong is your immune system? They don't know. They really don't, unless they have some type of a health issue. And then they're going, now I know I have a problem with this, so therefore my immune system is not as strong as it should be. Well, the reality is, it's funny because you read the news and there's a hockey team in Ottawa, NHL hockey team. These guys are in top physical condition. They've all been vaccinated, double vaccinated, and yet half the teams come down with COVID. So the fact is a strong immune system is the only thing that is actually going to protect us from the microbial world. It's also going to lessen the onslaught of the virus when it gets in there. So the interesting thing is iodine is a broad spectrum kill product. And when you spray it, it's killing in a broad spectrum. So if you're actually able to reduce the bacterial or the viral loading, it's easier on your body.
And if I can say
in the
something,
conversion.
Yeah, if I can say something, everyone. Yes. Stop trying to get rid of viruses and bacteria because you're going to get rid of yourself. And would you like to destroy yourself and to destroy the planet? I want to thank everybody that uses the bacterial soap that's poisoning themselves and the bacteria. And the bacterial soap has nothing to do with the virus anyways. So the reality is this. Why can't people understand something? It's always going to be a little bit of a war going on inside yourself. That's what keeps you well. Why do children eat dirt? Why do we let children suck on their toys? Oh, we're going to stop that now? Would you like your children not to have an immune system? Do you actually think that sucking on their toys is a big deal? Just like right now, we've bought into this whole BS story, dysfunctional belief story. So understand this. You need to test yourself. A little bit of stress every day keeps you sharp. Okay, a little bit of stress on your immune system keeps you sharp. But if you are part of the majority and you have the health of the majority, 92% of the population now has an autoimmune disease. And when somebody can have diabetes, and guess what? They don't think that they're sick. They're only sick if they're at the hospital. I have diabetes, but I'm not sick. I've got cancer, but I'm not sick. Or how about this one? I'm a 3-time cancer survivor. Please, let's get it right the first time. Okay? Yeah. Terry, take it away.
The science again, Daryl, because the extension of the production of the T3, T4 hormones, the 3 and the 4 are iodine molecules. Most people don't know that, all right? So the T3s and the T4s, they actually activate different things within our systems. It's our metabolism.
Terry, can you hold for 1 second? I hope you know that he just laid an atomic bomb on everyone. Everybody knows T3 and T4, and everybody knows that we need T3 and T4 because that's a major part of our immune system. But did you hear what he said? It comes from iodine. So there's no iodine in your diet, or you have an iodine that doesn't work properly for your metabolism. So understand something, everyone. There could be a really big missing piece to the puzzle here. Go ahead, Terry.
Yep. So the T3s and the T4 activate our metabolism, our immune system. I don't like to use the term they run our endocrine system, but it's an easy way to describe it. Now, that's all that does, and that is its function, okay, for example. And then people have asked the question, well, is there anything else that goes on with iodine or iodide within your body? Because your thyroid is only one aspect of what your body needs from an iodine and an iodide perspective. So interestingly enough, iodine is very rarely found in nature. Okay, and we produce it. We're able to do it as humans, and we figured that out. But in nature, iodine is a gas. All right,
yeah,
and it's an incredibly powerful product. And what we've done is we've taken that and we've sublimed it straight into a crystal. So with that, we're able to actually work with pure iodine technologies. And iodine and iodide, when we take it into our body, it's meant to be there. Our body uses it. Now, beyond the thyroid application, for example, there's been 150 years of work done with tuberculosis. There's been, over the past 50 years, an enormous amount of work done with women's breast cancer, different types of cancers within our body, and how it's combated by having iodine within our system in order to help our bodies deal with the onslaughts that are coming in. So from that perspective, if you are sick, if you're going through this battle inside you, there's always damage that goes on within us. And when that damage is done, sometimes we don't survive from it, unfortunately. But the reality is that damage happens. It's collateral damage. It's a war that goes on in our bodies. And people are finding out now, well, if I catch this disease, all of a sudden I have a long-term thing that goes on with me.
Thanks, Sean.
The interesting thing about iodine and iodide within our systems is that at a cellular level, they're required in order to produce the cells. So the work's been done from a connective tissue healing perspective, for example. So whether or not you've got a cut on your hand or on your arm and you put iodine onto it, it's actually going to disinfect the cut, obviously. But the healing process happens with iodine and iodide at a cellular level, topically as well within our body. So therefore, you're actually healing faster. So whether we damage ourselves because we cut ourselves on the outside, you can see it. You don't see the damage that goes on the inside from the microbial world when we actually are in a battle. But that collateral damage that happens, iodide is one of the fundamental building blocks in the repair process for us. So if we don't have enough of this in our diet, it takes that much longer for us to heal and overcome these collateral damages that go on within our system. So that's the science that's been done with this product. And we can talk about the beautiful aspects of it, being a wonderful technology, but the work's been done here. And when the work gets done, to be able to say, here's the science, here's the reality, and unfortunately, we don't know about this. And that's a big question for me, because when I was younger, Daryl and I met a long time ago, actually. But when we first met, I would have to spend weeks in a library to find out information about iodine. Today, it's at your fingertips. So it's taking the action. Here's some knowledge. If you've got health issues related to whatever you're dealing with, take a look whether or not work has been done with iodine and it's there. And then we can actually have discussions about it and questions and say, here's how this interacts, and this is how this is actually helping you. So from that perspective, Daryl hits you with a big hammer going, man, you've got to be healthy. And he does it in a really, really terrific way, because we do need to be told, go out and do this. And the fact is, this is something that's simple and it's not a difficult thing to do. So, and when Daryl says you need to have this every day, we don't produce it in our body. We don't produce iodine or iodide in our body. We have to take it in one way, shape, or form. So whether or not, we're swimming in the ocean, your body's actually absorbing iodine or iodide actually coming out of the ocean, and it gets into your bloodstream and your thyroid gets to use it. We're physiologically built to take this in any way we can, whether we breathe it, it comes in through our skin, or whether we ingest it. That's how important it is for our bodies. And we're actually only finding this out in the last 100, 150 years, how important it is. So if our body mechanisms give us the ability to take this wonderful element in all of these different forms, you got to pay attention. This is something that's really important for us.
Terry, can you do me a favor before we start opening up for questions? Because we are going to do that. Everybody start writing your questions down. We can see they're coming in. And don't be afraid to write them down. Don't be afraid to challenge Terry or myself. But first of all, challenge yourself. That would be great. Wouldn't it be great if you challenge yourself every day to just grow 1%? That would take you 100 days to get what you want. How's that? So why don't we talk about the difference between iodine and iodide, so that people understand, and then that'll give them a better idea on which one they might need. And believe it or not,
Yes.
There's some people that actually need both products for a while. And we found that. And also, I have a special program for cancer patients, but you'll have to call me, and my number is 855-900-4544, extension 5. But you'll have to call me for that, okay? And then we can discuss it. But go ahead, Terry.
So let's start with the natural process of taking iodide into our body from food, because it's an easy way to describe it.
Thank you.
You eat a piece of fish in the ocean, a 6-ounce piece of cod. And here's the interesting thing. Not all fish in the ocean have iodide in it, even though they swim in it every day, because the ocean has 1,000 tons that it's burning off cyclically every day in order to balance the ozone layer for us. That process happens. Seaweed has a lot of iodide in it, and there's certain ocean fish that do. So let's use a 6-ounce piece of cod, for example, or haddock, have high content of iodide in it. When that actually gets into our stomach, our body starts to process the iodide and starts to use it. And it has its own functions for iodide at a cellular level in order to make sure that we're all going to stay healthy. But within our stomach acids, 0.5% of the acid in our stomach is a hydrochloric acid. And there's only very few acids that will convert an iodide over to an iodine. That's one of them. So the fact is, our bodies are built to produce iodine within our own systems. And when it gets produced in the gut, the clinical studies that have been done indicate that the iodine actually goes into the bloodstream and it's used within the bloodstream. So then you ask the question, what does it do? Well, iodine is nature's natural killer. So it's going to go after bacteria or viruses or anything that shouldn't be in your bloodstream, and it is going to keep attacking it until it kills it, or you don't have enough of it in your body to continue the war, is essentially what happens. And that's why it's important that we have enough of it every day in our diet to allow our systems to function properly, to continue on in the battle and make sure that we come out on the other side healthy. And that's the most important thing, is it's a matter of health every day. So from that perspective, that's an easy description of how our bodies actually produce iodine, where we don't see it out in nature anywhere. And yet within our own bodies, it'll take iodide, your thyroid will convert it into an iodine, or your stomach will convert it into an iodine. And there's two different things that are done there, because the T3s and the T4s, that's what your thyroid is doing. And those hormones have specific functions. Iodine and iodide getting into your gut, there's a different function there. And that way your body's able to use the iodide for the important features, and it will convert what it needs into an iodine, for example, in order to put it into your bloodstream. Now, with that, if you drink iodine, because, we have Daryl's got wonderful infinite iodine products with us. They're not only a spray product, we also have a product that is a 4-ounce bottle that you can take that, you can put it into a 2 or 3 ounce glass of water.
Here it is right here.
Yes. Okay. So with that kit, there's a little measuring cup in there. There's a pipette in there. There is a spray bottle so that you can put it in the spray bottle to use it every day. But you can also
spray bottle.
Yeah. So what happens is when you actually have the larger bottle, you can take out 1 or 2 mils, put it into a glass of water, for example. So 1 mil is going to be the equivalent of 5 sprays. The difference is you're now having iodine going down into your gut. Once it's in your gut, it doesn't have to use the conversion from the hydrochloric acid. It's already in an iodine form to be entered into your bloodstream, and it's going to do what it needs to do naturally. So once again, when we're talking about nature, because our body, put it this way, our body doesn't use ozone and peroxide and chlorine to kill things within our body because it burns them up, and it's not a natural process. And yet iodine is the element that it requires to do that. So from that perspective, those are the different ways that you can actually use the product. Now, people that are spraying iodine in their back of the throat, they're saying, well, it's going to kill bacteria and viruses at the back of your throat. And yes, it does. And it is broad spectrum. But what happens is once the microflora starts to rebuild up, then you actually have the pathogens are being reduced naturally within our system and at the back of your throat. It's the same if you were to put iodine onto your skin. In order to deal with a bacterial issue, once that's been dealt with, the natural microflora takes over and things go back to normal. So iodine, when you spray it at the back of your throat, it does have a microflora effect. There is, and we use that effect to convert it into an iodine or an iodide, for example. If you don't want to change the microflora at the back of your throat, simply spray iodide in the back of your throat, because that's going to go straight through your mucous membranes into your bloodstream so that your thyroid uses it right away. So there is the difference on how you can actually use the product, on how it's set out. Now, people have extended that, okay? For example, and they said, look, we can breathe it. And yes, we do. When we're on the ocean, you're breathing iodide every day. If you happen to be on the ocean during a lightning storm, ozone is formed. It'll convert iodide into an iodine naturally in the air so that you're breathing iodine as well. So from that perspective, there's a lot of people that have actually started to use the attributes of iodine from an inhalation perspective, because they like it to get into either their lungs or into their nasal passages, for example.
And can I say something, Terry? So what you want to do is go on Amazon.ca or Amazon anywhere in the world, look for a nebulizer, okay? And then you told them about the ratio and the parts, how they use it?
Yes, no, I haven't gotten to that yet, but essentially the little nebulizers have a small well on the top of them, and it's usually about an 8 mil well, for example. So rather than doing 5 sprays, you can put 1 mil into the well. And if you'd like to have an extended period of breathing, because 1 mil is probably going to last you about 3-4 minutes. So if you add water to that, you'll actually double the amount of volume that's in there, but it's still the same micronutrient content that you're taking in, for example. So that way, when you're breathing it, if you would like to breathe for 5 or 10 minutes, you're more than available to do that. The interesting thing is that a lot of work now is now being done with inhalation, okay? And the fact is, iodine will kill viruses in your nasal passages in 15 seconds based on povidone work that was done. And to give you an idea, the povidone technology that they were using for that work had kill power at 2 to 3 parts per million. However, that's all it could do as a disinfectant. There was a massive amount of iodine in the carrier molecule, so you wouldn't want to actually ingest this product because it's harmful for you. But the kill power was only 2 to 3 ppm. When you take a look at the infinite iodine product, for example, one spray is 30 micrograms, and you need 5 of those sprays in order to actually have your daily uptake. The interesting thing is that one spray at 30 micrograms has a kill power of 150 parts per million. So from a nature's perspective, this is a broad spectrum kill rather instantly in order to take care of the microbial world where it needs to. So with that, those are the different ways that you can actually take this into your body. And it's what we're doing now. Like I say, you can swim in the ocean, you can go for a walk on the ocean, you're breathing it. This is how it gets into your system, and you can ingest it.
And Terry, can I say something?
Yeah.
So everybody, I want you to get this. I'm a big nebulizer fan. And I got to tell you that I've got people that have eye problems that will start nebulizing and their eyes get healthier. Now, you can even spray the actual infinite iodine into your eyes. If you've got an earache, you can put it into your ear. But understand something. We have people that have everything from COPD to asthma, okay, to lung cancer. And when you start off with this, you may only be able to nebulize for 2 seconds and you feel like you're going to cough. But if you keep at it and you keep at it gently, step at a time, you'll see within a few days, you're able to take more and more down into your lungs. You'll see your breathing start to get better. Do not underestimate the power of this. And if I can go one other step further, what we've done is we do what we call vaginal infusions. If you go to my Perfect Day Guide in my library, look up vaginal infusions. Ladies, there's the holy grail of power for healing. Okay, whether it's a bladder infection, whether it's endometriosis, whether it's a tumor, whether it's infertility, whether it's a cyst, okay, whether it's any of these things. And what you want to do is take a look at that. We use like a silver bullet gel. We use the infinite iodine. We use frankincense, okay? And you can see the mixture and you can see how to do it. And I'm going to tell you something. If you want to heal your body, they've done studies and we've seen things where we have done vaginal infusion and the other end of the body heals because the vaginal canal picks up everything and you can actually renew. How would you like to renew your vaginal canal? How would you like it to actually return to health and have the moisture in there? How would you like it to have the elasticity? How would you like the thickening of your uterus to go away? How would you like to get rid of that bladder infection you had forever and a day? How would you like to even become fertile again? And I can say it because we've seen it happen. Okay, Terry, you want to take it?
Well, it's a good point that you mentioned on the last one with regards to fertility, because we've seen a lot of that as well.
Yeah.
All right. And different homeopaths that have patients that have been infertile and started them on iodide. And literally within a few months, they conceived, which is wonderful because they hadn't for years and have been really working on it. And yet the system didn't understand they were missing one of the critical components was iodide.
That's right, because there's no such thing as cure. There's only such thing as alignment. You are given everything that you need, but now you're out of alignment. So we give you back a puzzle piece from nature that was yours in the beginning, was taken away. Once we give that, there is no cures. There's just alignment. That's all there is. You're just, oh my God, I can't believe how I feel. Well, you could feel like that every day if you wanted, if you just learned how to create the perfect day and you knew what your body actually needed. Terry.
Right. Yep. And that's where, once again, action is important. This is something that you need to do. We can sort of touch on a few different subjects here, Daryl, and I prefer to sort of give you the direction that we'd like to take here.
Oh, no, why don't you touch on the subjects and let's spur some more questions and then we'll start from the beginning and then we'll go through these questions. How's that? So why don't you touch on the important topics and then we'll go and do the questions. And guys, if you can start collecting the questions for me, that'd be great, so that we can just go in there and we don't have to read. But thank you, everybody who's saying that you're enjoying this, that it's amazing. And we just thank you for all your praise for the work we're doing. But we're going to go right to the questions. But I want you to know that we read this. And I just want to thank you for all your good, all your blessings. Thank you so much. So, Terry, why don't you just hit on some of the major things that you believe that people would like to hear, and then we'll run through the questions. How's that?
Sure. Most importantly today, all right, we're dealing with a new virus and a pandemic. It's around the world, and the fact is, it's not going away. It isn't going away. Polio didn't go away. Tuberculosis hasn't gone away. The Spanish flu hasn't gone away. We've actually lived through it and survived. And one of the most, and the key thing to surviving in this is the internal body being healthy, period. So from that perspective, we can touch on a lot of different things with regards to the health aspects, from, regeneration of cellular tissues and things like that. But very topically around the world, everybody right now wants to have a little bit of freedom. And the only way to do that is actually to be not only healthy, but to have a strong immune system. And that is something there that you'll always hear me come back with, regardless of the conversation, because there's a lot of products out there that are wonderful that we need in order to stay healthy. There's very few of them that are targeted at the immune system. And when something is critical for the functioning of the immune system, the functioning of your metabolism, this is something you need to take every day. So whether or not it's an iodine because you want to make sure that you're going to, interact with the microflora at the back of your throat in order to reduce the loading and help your body deal with that, wonderful. Iodide is what is critical as a micronutrient running through your system. Either one of them. Take either one of them every day. It's as simple as that. And there's no magic involved here. And the other thing that I have to point out is today, often people are looking for, and Daryl pointed out earlier really well, if you change 1% every day, imagine how things start to stack up. So the fact is you do have to make the effort in order to make small changes in order to move in the right direction. And that really comes down to a little bit of self-discipline, but the most important thing is knowledge. And once you have the answers, then it's totally up to yourself what you do in order to enjoy your life, live a little bit longer, and definitely live healthier. So if we can reduce the microbial loading in our bodies and what we have to deal with from an immune system's perspective every day, because it's in battles constantly. If you have any type of a disease where you're taking an antibiotic, for example, as soon as that antibiotic hits you, your immune system is now going to get weakened. If you have diabetes, if you're obese, there's certain things that we're living with as a race today that are actually weakening our immune systems over the past 40, 50 years versus strengthening it. So for this virus to show up, I think is just an indicator to say, don't forget, the microbial world is out there. It's incredibly powerful. And, the fact is, antibody activators is what we need from that perspective. And iodine just happens to be a natural product within our body that serves that function normally. So we don't have it. We can't sort of get it in our diet. It's simple these days. And that's what we're trying to make this easy is that, and Daryl with all of his products and all of the things that he does is really, really critical. Because if Daryl is not promoting what he's doing and actually educating the world out there in order to heal yourself, we just get sicker as time goes on. And unfortunately, the medical industry is often not there to help us. Easiest way to say it, Daryl. Okay.
Yeah,
and
absolutely. And you got to understand the whole medical model is to create a 911 emergency, because then you can't think straight, because who really wants to be poisoned, cut or burned? And you can take it or leave it. But the reality is that's what they're doing. And you know what? You're either going to become a medical emergency, or you're going to create a perfect day where you decide to be your own practitioner. And that's really it. You
Yes.
can't count on me. You can't count on anybody. You got to count on yourself. When you wake up in the morning, from the moment you rise until you gently close your eyes at the end of the day, who's driving that vehicle? Is it you, or is it in a corporation? Is it the medical system, or is it some natural health practitioner who probably doesn't know what he's talking about, because so many do not know what they're talking about? It's not A, C, B, D, E vitamins, guys. It's not. Okay. It's knowing how to keep your immune system strong. It's knowing that your immune system needs to be tested, but guess what? You need to be tested. You need to be challenged on your information and understand something. You could have the best life that you've ever had. And all you had to do was understand you had to fall in love with you. You had to put you first. You had to say, what do I need? You need to be selfish enough to know what you need to create a perfect day, and then just repeat it every day, because that's how we master everything. Understand that. Guess what? The same people that are telling you to get the V are the same people that take my products. You might want to think about that. Okay.
Yeah. And the reality is the way that the system is working today, Daryl, it can't sustain itself.
No,
it can't.
It's imploding on itself. And guess what? It's not imploding on itself. It's decomposing right now, because that's what happens. You do know that a disease means that your tissue is rotting in that part of your body. You're rotting out. Okay, that's what it means. If you could smell the disease in that part of your body, you would say that smells like death. That's right. So we need to really learn and stop burning and start moving forward, get ourselves off the hook. We're not failures. You've been programmed to be sold off by the pound. So what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, and the important thing, Daryl, is that this has to do with the human race right now, and that's, I guess, our focus, because the human race needs to be healthy.
Yes,
and that's what we can do. And the message that we're putting out there is for the human race, because it doesn't matter what your skin color is, it doesn't matter what your religion is. you're a human and the microbial world is coming for you. Okay.
Yeah.
And we've got to be able to protect ourselves. And the medical people that I do work with have fear in the future that these are just initial indications of what's going to be coming. So
The whole
we're seeing
medical system is going to crumble, and it's because you cannot live a lie this long. You know, human beings aren't really the smartest species in the universe. So let's get that straight. And, you know, we just need a few more people to die from each family, and then they're going to go, oh, maybe this isn't working. But take a look at what people look like, look what they feel like, look what they talk like, and then you can understand that people aren't having a good time right now.
no, they're not. And yet it's time to change that. And that's what we are trying to do globally, is actually put the education out there in order to help us get back to being free again. Because there's, you know, after the Spanish flu showed up, for example, there was a decade that went on after that of huge fear. And there was no, you know, where we are at today in our society and the products, the technologies, and the understanding, the knowledge of just need to be healthy. We just need to be healthy in order to enjoy our life again. And that's all this is. That's why I say that Infinite Iodine is a freedom product. This is actually going to allow the families to get together, the families to go out. We have Thanksgiving coming up here in a couple of days. Okay. So what do you think the topic is going to be, Daryl, around the table?
Your fear away. Spray your fear away.
Okay. And that way, if you're sitting down with the family and the relatives, it's a joy to be able to get us together again. There's no doubt. And it's only the start of it, but start to educate everybody around the table about a simple product. Here's why we need it. And it's for our immune system. People always say, well, how come I didn't know about that? Now we're telling you, so you know. Okay. What are you going to do about it? What action are you going to take? Because the fact is, if you want to be healthy, we all want to be healthy. And this is like I said, it's not hitting people over the head with the hammer, but we should sometimes, because this is something that is so beneficial for us. Don't wait till you get sick. There's no need for that. You can actually take a product every day that's going to help keep you healthier and keep disease away. And I say disease, as you indicated, our bodies are loaded with bacteria and viruses running through us, but they're commensal. We've learned to live with them. Our immune system has adapted and said, we're good. It's the new ones that are coming in that are really causing us some stress. And there's going to be a lot of new ones coming. And when you take a look at, from a disinfection perspective, iodine is the world's leading disinfectant. When you look at,
and if I can say something, Terry, I want everybody to get this because I've been utilizing this product enough, and Terry will tell you what our sales are like. You know, sometimes he's had trouble trying to keep up with me because he can't.
Yes.
Now he can, but he's got his production up. But guess what? People know, and they instinctively know, okay, we got the purest product, smallest molecular weight, it's non-toxic, and understand something. We can get people from A to Z, different negative symptoms. They do the iodine, and guess what? From A to Z, their symptoms are leaving. So was it actually this little molecule or this nutrient, or was it because there wasn't enough infection fighting power in the body? So the reality is there are products that are just Thunderdome amazing. And I'll tell you something. And that's the whole key, is we don't want to be taking 10 and 20 different things. We want to be doing things that orchestrate a domino effect of vital healing right through the whole body. And that's the deal.
yes.
So Terry, do you want to say whatever you need to say, and then we'll start with questions, okay?
No, like I said, let's get into the questions with them, because I think we've sort of given it enough to be able to say this is something you need to have every day.
Okay.
Now they understand the difference between iodine and iodide, because that's critical, because most people don't understand that. We've defined iodine kills things, turns into an iodide. It's the micronutrient form. Our body uses this. Nature uses this. It doesn't get any more natural than that. And with that, this is the way, to me, the road to keep us healthy. And when we talk about children, this is a product that Infinite Iodine is safe for a 1-year-old, it's safe for a 1-day-old.
Yeah,
okay,
but one other thing too about children is you know what? Stop being upset with your children because they can't focus. Start spraying the iodine, okay, into the back of their throats, and watch how their focus comes back with their homework. Okay, and then stop giving them Fruit Loops too, could you please? Okay, so Dr. Wolf, do you think, this is Betsy, Dr. Wolf, do you think if iodine kills the intestinal flora? I'll let you answer that.
No, by the time it hits the intestinal flora, the iodine is usually converted over to an iodide, unless you're into a high dosing therapy, all right, where you're specifically looking to get iodine down into your intestines. You can drink a lot of it to get it down there for that action, but it
And
is
guess,
not a normal action.
yeah, but guess what? It doesn't kill beneficial bacteria. It goes and creates an environment for the bad bacteria that they can't live in. So they either get to decide to go back and be nice, or they get to get rid. They get rid of. The body gets
Yeah.
rid of it. So
And it's a
everything is environmental.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying it's a management state is what you were talking about.
Yes.
Okay. And that's all it is, being able to manage what's going on within our. So things that are going on within your intestines, like I said, 5 sprays in your mouth is actually going to do specific things within your body. With regards to an intestinal issue, you may want to actually have a chat with Daryl about that and take a look at what's going to be required from a drinking perspective of iodine versus spraying perspective.
Yes, and when it comes to drinking it, when you're dealing with more chronic situations, then we need to load the body up, because I want you to try to get this, everybody. So when he says 5 sprays a day, that's the person who's maintaining. What about the person that dug a 20-foot hole? Are we going to give them 5 sprays a day and a 5-foot ladder? And if they climb that ladder 4 times, do they get out of the hole? No. So yeah, you can't do that. You know, you need to build a 20-foot ladder and then get them out of the hole. Then we can bring them back to maintenance. So just use logic. Okay. If you get somebody who's chronically ill, you think you're going to put them on a maintenance program? They're going to get back to health? No,
Right.
you got to look at your life like this. I got a Visa card. I haven't made any payments for a year. So that means that you get to make the monthly payment next month? No. You've got to go and you got to fix up this last 12 months. So what you got to do is you got to take massive personal action and really work with this. But I get it. You don't have any energy. Well, if you want energy, you got to take the right products to give you energy to heal. It's not
So
it's not a good
Yes.
situation. So
And
now
one of
you're
the
sick.
byproducts.
Now you're sick. You don't have any energy. So now you can't get out of bed. Now you can't move. And without energy, you're not going to get well. Well, understand something. Iodine disinfects. And when you disinfect and you bring down the infection rate, you bring up the immune system right away. Am I right?
Yes, you are, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, we touched on it earlier. Iodine is a very highly energetic molecule on the periodic table.
Yes.
Okay. It is pure element. It has a massive amount of energy. And the interesting thing is that your body gets to use that. And anecdotally, people are saying, I have a lot more energy. I have mental clarity. Feeling better from a well-being perspective, actually getting out of bed and having some energy and no brain fog and wanting to get on with your day and actually go out to enjoy it, for example. And this isn't, if you take sprays and you think, okay, I've had my 5 sprays, let's see what's going to happen. That's not how this works. As you indicated, your body needs this thing every day. All right. So it's not a 5-hour.
Terry, you're going to have to repeat that. You're cutting out like crazy. Repeat what you just said.
Okay. Yeah, hopefully you can hear me okay here. I was just indicating that iodine is an incredibly energetic molecule. Okay. And the fact is, there's been a lot of people, once you start taking iodine on a daily basis, as we should, people actually start to feel the energy. Don't feel it in a day. This isn't a jolt of caffeine that hits your brain in order to fool you. This is actually something that the energy levels slowly start to build up to the point where you do notice it and go, now I'm feeling different. Okay. So you'll notice that within the first week to 2 weeks to 3 weeks, and you're going to start, especially if you're finely tuned, to look for how your body's running. But even people that are not finely tuned are coming back and saying, I've got more mental clarity, better focus. I've actually lost a few pounds, okay, which was rather interesting for people. And it's simple. And that's your metabolism speeding up and working properly for a change.
Alignment.
Okay. Yes. All right. So from that perspective, this is an energy product. We do not market it or sell it as an energy product. We don't sell it as a weight loss product. This is something that is required by your body. And those are the actual effects that happen. And when you say side effects, it's interesting because most of the drug industry, when they produce a product and they say, here's the product, and they say, but here's all of the negative side effects with it. The people that have asked me, over the past several years, what are the side effects? Well, the side effects are you're going to have a little more energy. You may lose a little bit of weight, and you're definitely going to have better mentality. So from that perspective, those are things that from a well-being perspective, that's wonderful to have every day. And that's what we're trying to get to. And we all have our ups and downs on an ongoing basis. The fact is, from a nutritional perspective, this is something that's key in order to keep us mentally stable, physically, and enjoying the time we're here on this planet, because it's limited. Okay, so we want to enjoy it as much as we can, and this is just a fundamental building block on a daily basis that people are missing in their diet, and something that Daryl had talked about when we first met. He says, "How come people don't know about this?" It's an education process, and once people are educated, they realize, "Yep, this is something to do every day." It's like eating, it's like breathing. This is something that we have to have in us in order to actually enjoy our life. So rather than me rambling on, Daryl, I'm hoping that gives people enough insight to understand how important this thing is, because it helps us internally. And unfortunately, we live in a very sort of outward world where people are looking for physical things right away to go, "Oh, if my skin looks better, I'm healthy right away," for example. So I'm just trying to give people a little perspective here that, your inner universe doesn't overnight all of a sudden get better. It's going to take time in order for it to show, and it will show, and you will feel it. But it's something you have to have. That's
Absolutely.
just a simple explanation.
So Jeff says, what do I order, iodine or iodides? Can you please try to make a good definition between the two, would you?
Yeah, okay, I can answer. I've been spraying iodine and taking iodine now for over 30 years. Okay, iodide, and the thing is, I use it for its attributes of being a general disinfectant, a very good one that's healthy for us. And that's what I use. So the reality is I've only had maybe 2 colds in the last 25 years. However, I can say that I had because I'm traveling, I had to go and get vaccinated. And after I had my second vaccine shot, I did sniffles for 2 days, and I was spraying a little extra iodine, but it was in and out 2 days, and I was back to normal again. But I'm not used to being sick. I'm actually used to being very healthy every day. And yet I speak to people on an ongoing basis that are actually used to being sick versus actually used to being healthy. So I spray iodine every day because it helps control the microbial world in the back of my throat, from my perspective. But we have half of my customers, half the people that are on our products are taking iodide every day. So from their perspective, they're getting all of the health benefits, but they don't want to change the microflora at the back of their throat or in their gut, for example, if you're going to consume it, because they feel fine from that perspective, but they do understand, the knowledge is there, that iodide is what they have to have in their body. So iodide is clear, it's tasteless in water, there's nothing there, and we don't want to add flavors and do all of these wonderful things to put gimmicks to it. It's in its purest form so that your body can absorb it to its maximum capabilities. So
Sharon Freeman,
sorry to ramble on, but personal choice, Daryl, iodine, iodide, both work. If you're around people that are sick, I would indicate you may want to be spraying iodine every day for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know what? I'll do, you can do whatever you want, everybody. And that's what I say. But I do iodide, and I do iodine every day, just 5 sprays of each. That's it. So I like to, because I demand a lot from my body, as people must realize by now. But that's okay, because my body can handle it, because I know how to create the perfect day. Sharon Freeman, can one take this iodine if their thyroid has been removed?
Yes, you can, as a matter of fact, because your body needs it aside from your thyroid. Because when your thyroid's been removed, it's an assumption, but one has to think that you're on a T3, T4 iodine synthetic hormone right now, called Synthroid, or there may be another brand name for it. Those synthetic hormones are produced if your thyroid is gone in order to activate your immune system, as well as activate your metabolism and activate other mechanisms in your body. But you still need to have iodine and iodide within your diet for the rest of your body to actually maintain itself. So yes, without a problem, you'd want to have it every day.
Okay, let's see the next one. Where is it? Okay, so Bozina. So how much on average should we be supplementing with iodine? What is the safe dose? Thank you. Well, the reality is that this iodine is not toxic. So you have to understand, when you talk about safety, you're comparing it to Lugol's iodine and Nascent. Before we go any further, I want you to explain the difference between Nascent, Lugol's, and ours. And I think that's really important, because it's just going to come up. Okay.
Okay. So I'll just take a quick review. Lugol's solution was made in 1825. And the reason why it was prepared by Dr. Lugol was he was using it to actually combat tuberculosis. And once again, that was a pandemic type disease that was running rampant, and he was doing very high dosing with patients with iodine and iodide. And Dr. Lugel was a very smart gentleman, because it was only 15 years prior to that it was actually discovered, iodine and iodide, for example. And he clued into it right away and was able to use it for its health attributes at a very, very high level, not for everyday uptake to deal with your normal functioning of your thyroid or your body system running normally. So that product is still around today, for example. Lugel's, you can go and buy it in the store. However, even Health Canada has put out a warning saying, be very careful with it, because it's very easy to overdose with this product. And that's just not something you want to do. So it can harm your thyroid. So people are a little, I guess, not so much skeptical, but have a little bit of fear, and they should, with these types of high dosing products, because often, if they're not done correctly, they can harm you. So that's Lugel's solution. And it's potassium iodide and an iodine combined at a very, very high concentration. People have put it onto their skin, looking to get the 10% bleed through of the product into their bloodstream, so that it could go in as an iodide, your blood would use it, and it would go in and your thyroid would convert it, for example. So that is Lugel's solution. Nascent iodine, on the other hand, that was a derivative product that came out of a tincture of iodine that was developed in the early 1900s. And because iodine couldn't be dissolved in water, they used alcohol. And the alcohol dissolved, but it also dissolved at a very, very high level. So now they had a tincture of iodine that you could put onto a cut. It would burn like hell. And that was in the sort of, our home little medicine cabinets until the 1950s. So that product, once again, is very high dosing, and it was not developed as a consumable product. It was developed to actually treat skin issues, cuts and abrasions and things like that. So in the 1930s, some people got together and thought, we may be able to do something with a tincture of iodine, and they hit it with hundreds of thousands of volts of electricity. And what they were trying to do was separate the iodine two positive molecules. They always travel as a pair in nature. Iodine is I2. So I2 is a natural product. And what they had done was they were able to use the alcohol solution, hit it with the electricity in order to separate it out as two I positives. Okay, for example. And that's not something that's done in nature. It's actually done within our thyroid only, and there's a specific function for that to happen. So when we take iodide out of our bloodstream, it gets converted to a nascent iodine, which is a single molecule of a T3, T4s. Those are single molecules, the 3s and the 4 molecules of each. So the problem is that our thyroid does that naturally. If you take in a product that bypasses that process, and you've got a nascent iodine coming into your thyroid, for example, and an easy way to describe it is that if you were to put your right arm in a sling, which works fine today, and you put it in a sling for 2 years, and then you take off the sling, your arm's not going to work properly. Okay. So if you bypass certain functions within your thyroid that are there naturally, is not a good process. Easiest way to put it. Now, the nascent iodine that is running through our bodies, once again, that is from a nascent iodine product, is not a natural iodide product that our body can function with, or a natural iodine product that get converted within our gastric system to do what it needs to do. So that's nascent iodine. And the thing is, all iodine technologies that have come on, and then the iodophore technology is essentially betadine and povidone, where they use plastic carrier molecules for the iodine and chemicals with interactions to release a small amount of that product to use it as a disinfectant. So those are the three technologies. And, from my perspective, nascent really isn't one that I would promote, or I could even get behind from a physical perspective. And out of all of them that have been developed over the past 200 years, like I said, that to me was not one that was from a beneficial perspective. It was done in science. Can we do it? It was done in the 30s. It was essentially shelved for 40 or 50 years. Back in the 80s, people got together and said, well, we can hit it with more electricity and more efficiently to produce iodine. So from a chemical perspective, I'm hoping that gives you an understanding of what nascent iodine is. They've used electricity in order to separate out a natural molecule into two positive singles that will bypass a function in our thyroid. So I'm hoping that gives you an explanation of them.
Thanks, Terry. Okay, so here's one, and then I'd like you to answer it. I'm going to answer this one not on an iodine perspective, and then I want you to take it away. Okay, this
Okay.
is from Lou Appleton. Can iodine help with menopause? First of all, yes, we all go through the change of life, but most women will have terrible menopause problems, and that's because basically they don't even realize that they've been backing up the waste in their bowels forever and a day. They backed it up onto their liver, they backed up their lymph system, and then when your period starts to slow down, which is the greatest detoxifier for a woman every month, that's why they live longer, that's why they are stronger. And then when that starts to leave, okay, they're all jammed up and corked up in the butt. Their filters all clogged up in the liver. So then guess what? Then they start having these little fevers, okay? Okay, they start having these little fevers. They have the chills, they have the mood swings, and that's because they were infected and toxic and absorbing their own waste all the time. But if it wasn't for the period, that saved the day, but now it's leaving, so now they get to pay. Go ahead, take over.
Well, it's an interesting question, because what you're trying to do is pick a certain time in life. Say, if I'm going through this evolution in my life, will this help me? The answer is yes. From day one, it helps us. So it's not a matter of saying, oh, if I'm going through this period of time, should I be taking the product? You need to have it every day from the day you're born. So if you're now, if you now have the knowledge to know that this needs to be in your system and it's not there, yes, take it. It will help, and it's going to help through menopause and through the rest of your life. So that's the whole idea here. Is this is not a product where you say, I can use it when I'm a teenager, I don't need it anymore, for example. This is something that we have to have in our bodies from the day we're born until the day we die. Very, very simple.
Good. And so if we understand that 92% of the population has an autoimmune disease, we know that people are highly toxic and they're programmed, right? So
Yeah.
everybody needs to take a look at what I call the perfect day guide in my library, and then maybe get a perfect day consultation. And this isn't a pitch, but it's $150 with lifetime support. So, and if you don't like the consult, we'll refund your money, because we know what we're doing. And the reality is when you know from the time you rise until you gently close your eyes and how to create a perfect day, you get your life back. Okay. Nobody's coming to save us. All right. Hi, Dr. Wolf, from Kim. It was so nice to meet you in person at the TTAC. Well, okay, guys. All right. Thanks, Kim. And Kim, I hope you're having the perfect day. And I mean that, because most people that go to TTAC are awake. Okay. But the majority of the population is so asleep that they're called the Walking Dead. And that's why zombie movies are so popular right now. Sir Edward's trichome. Is that the next one, guys?
Yep.
Okay. Terry, thank you. Love your product. I have a stock of Nascent iodine that I wouldn't use, but don't want to waste it. My question is, I used Nascent in my garden as a soil drench or foliar spray. He wants to know what he should do with it, buddy.
Keep using it in the garden. Okay. Easiest way to put it. Oddly enough, I do agriculture work coming up with pure iodine and iodide products, because plants, just like humans, actually use iodine and iodide in their daily life. And with the right amount of iodide in the soil, for example, it increases the nitrogen uptake in the plant in order for the plant to actually be healthier and produce more fruit. So when we look at a natural product, once again, this is just one more sort of, I guess, area within we live in on the earth, that this isn't only for humans. It's actually plants need it, animals need it, humans need it, the planet uses it. Okay, for example, and when I say that, this isn't gold or silver in a mine, it's an element on the periodic table. But the fact is, you have 1,000 tons of iodide burning off the ocean every day to balance the ozone layer, so that the ozone layer doesn't deplete and all of us end up not having a place to live. So that natural interaction, like I said, it's not gold or silver in a mountain somewhere where humans are going, oh, look at this, it's really shiny and we're going to put a value on it. This is something that is used in nature every day in order to balance our planet so that we can stay here as humans. The plants need it in order to actually grow properly. And we could witness that. And we're witnessing how important it is for humans. We need it. The further we move away from the ocean, our health starts to deteriorate, because the ocean was our source of it. Well, as humans started to expand around the world, we all can't live on the ocean anymore. And because we've moved inland over the last, several hundred years, or I say hundreds, going back a few thousand years, as we started to expand going into land, our health started to deteriorate. All right. So we were actually fortunate in the 1800s that somebody like a Dr. Lugels, and he had a huge uphill battle against the medical industry during his time to say this is actually a natural element that we need, and people aren't getting goiter because they drink bad water. Okay, for example. So it takes a long time to change medical truths in that industry. And unfortunately, Lugel was long dead by the time they put iodine onto table salt or iodide onto table salt to help us from a nutritional perspective. So in that, we know the world knows that we need this. The World Health Organization says that there's 2 billion people that are iodide deficient today. They use the term iodine, which is a misnomer, and it unfortunately confuses people. We're iodide deficient. And there's 2 billion plus people that they recognize. And there's a lot of, first world countries right now that we're finding out that it's not a problem just in a developing country. In America, we've got a huge population of women that are iodide deficient, and being proven out in clinical work where they're saying, this is a problem that was created, we looked at it, and by the way, they were missing iodide in their diet, and that seemed to be the magical thing here that was required, and it's a simple micronutrient. So for me, not to go on and on, but the technologies that we have today, it can't get any easier for you to use them. They are safe for the whole family. And like I say, you can have a day-old baby needs this in their diet, 110 micrograms every day. If the baby's not getting it from mom in her breast milk, and the baby's not getting it in a supplement, that IQ is going to continue to go down, and there's going to be more health issues being formed. So our brains as a human don't stop growing when we're born. They actually grow until we're into our 20s. So if you have to have iodide in your diet for brain development and brain growth, think of how important this is for our teenagers and our youngsters that are running around. And the other comment that Daryl had made earlier about children sticking, dirt in their mouth, and humans inherently, when we're young, we touch everything. It goes into our eyes, our nose, our mouth, our ears, because it's the microbial world being introduced to us and our immune system starting to develop to say, here's how we can fight off this world that's now starting to come into our bodies, because we've got to live on this planet and they're here and we can't get away from it. And the other important point that Daryl mentioned earlier is humans are used to going to war and fighting against somebody you see. You go to battle, the battle's over, you got a winner and a loser, you determine here's how we're going to move forward and go live together to make sure that we can continue the human race and enjoy our life. The microbial world, you don't see it. You can't see it. And we're in a battle every day with it. And unfortunately, that is something that needs help. That's where iodine and iodide come in, is dealing with our inside, our inner universe, in order to keep us moving along and healthy every day. Sorry, Daryl, I'll let you jump in.
Oh, don't apologize. That's quite all right. So I'm going to do this one just for fun, because I like fun. Canada is a corp. That's what the person's called. Terry is not doing a good job. I'm not interested in killing my viruses and bacteria that naturally live in my body. Now, let me just tell you, sir, you would be dangerous if you opened up a health clinic, because everybody might die. The reality is that your environment dictates whether your bacteria is good or your viruses are good or not. Because understand, there are good viruses and there are good bacteria and there are bad ones. There are good microbes and bad microbes, just like there are good beliefs and bad beliefs. And let me just say this right now. You've got some bad beliefs, and I don't think I'll be coming to your health clinic anytime soon. Thank you. Okay, next question. Now, when people say idiotic things, I'm going to correct them. Just like I will be on sometimes and people will say things, and I don't want my audience to know these things because these are not correct. Environment dictates everything. And iodine, this iodine goes in and changes the environment, which then changes the microbe and makes it friendly. The more friendly you are to your body, the more you love and care for your body, the more that your bacteria, your viruses, and all the other microbes, the little worms that are in there cleaning up things for us. There's actually a worm crawling across my eyelid right here. And all it does is just eat the dead skin cells that fall off the top of my eye. And guess what? He's a good guy. You got to know the difference between a good guy and a bad guy. And you want to know something right now? Guess what? People die of the cold and flu every day. But guess what? Not every one of them, but most of them, almost all of them, have an autoimmune disease such as heart disease or diabetes or cancer, or they have some other illness, okay? And understand, their body could not fight that one little bit of infection that actually came on top of it. It was just, we just can't do it. That's it. You're out of here, baby. So understand, Environment dictates everything, just like the environment in this room. If it's not good, I'm not staying. Did you ever go to a party and you went, wow, this is for me. I love the groove. Did you ever go into a party and you said, I'm like out of here. I'm going to have an excuse because I don't want to be in this vibe. You understand something. All right. There are no diseases. Okay. What there are is people that aren't in alignment and they don't have a high enough vibration in their environment. Understand something. You know what? I'll have people call me up and they'll go, I'm fighting this bacterial infection continually. I can't get rid of it. Or I've done 4 worm cleanses this year and I got worms again. That's right, because the environment dictates it. If you're a low vibrational person with low vibrational beliefs, with a low vibrational diet, then your life is a riot. And guess what? Everything that comes into you is going to stay in you. I could eat worms, take in bad bacteria, take in mold, take in fungus, and it's not going to stay in me because I vibrate too high. There you go. What do we got next, guys? Alice, I have the iodine kit. What else can I use it for besides spraying in my throat? Terry?
Yeah. Here's the thing. The label is as a micronutrient. And the fact is, iodine topically, you can spray it on your body. They use it to heal cuts, whether it's a povidone iodine technology. This is far healthier to put onto your skin, for example. So you can't actually spray it on your body. You can spray it in your mouth. And as Daryl indicated earlier, if you need to spray it in your ears or in your eyes, for example, ophthalmologists, they use iodine, betadine before they actually operate on your eyes. So our body is meant to take this in. Very, very simple and meant to use it. But Daryl, I'd like to just touch on one little point for a minute here, going back just a minute that you were sort of addressing. I'm an iodine scientist, and I've been involved in a lot of clinical trials with animals and coming here with humans, and I've been through a lot of the work that has been done in the past. And the interesting thing is that when it comes to iodide, okay, as a micronutrient in your system, people say, well, the work, how do you prove this thing that it's going to work? So do we run a clinical trial, for example, and say, we're going to give you iodine or iodide, and we're going to give this other person a placebo? Okay. And I struggled a little bit with the medical community there because I said, look, I can bet your whole life's paycheck, as an analogy, that if your car is out of gas and you pull up to a gas station and there's 2 pumps, one serving gas and the other one is a placebo with water in it, and you use the placebo, your car ain't going to start. Period. Okay. So when you look at iodine, you can't fool your thyroid. If iodide is present, it's going to process it and use it. There is no fooling it. So there's really not, there can be no pushback coming from the medical industry on the importance of this. That's a given. And all we're actually doing is educating the world on the importance of it again. So it's going to be naysayers about iodine. That's a really tough position for somebody to take because they must not understand that their body needs it every day. So what it does within your body, we're still learning. There's lots of work to come over the next 100 years of the benefits of it within our systems. But what we've learned so far is bloody amazing from that perspective and the benefits to it. So people that are naysayers, you can look at the clinical studies and you can go back over 100 years to look at them. And these clinical studies are not based on somebody doing work like a pharmaceutical company saying, I'd like to do this work in order to sell a product. This work was actually done based on pure science work to say, what is the result? We don't know. And we'd like to find out. That's science. So like I said, from our perspective, when we talk about science and how this needs to be introduced to the world, it's pretty tough to be a naysayer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, just so you know, Sean, we've got to try to post for people because people want to come on Zoom and ask questions. And there's some people that are coming on here saying they can't get onto Zoom. So what's the rules here? So I just want to say this, and I should have said it at the beginning of the show, everyone. Every one of our shows now, you can come on Zoom, you can come on live, you can ask your questions, and you can ask your questions live. So to go on Zoom, what do they do again?
I just posted in the comments.
Yeah, can we do that throughout the whole thing? And yeah, and even at the beginning, make sure it's in my script so I remember before every show. So we actually do this, okay? Oh, I didn't read down far enough. There you go, Daryl. Oh, wake up, wake up. Okay, so that's a different number than you have on my script, though. Okay, just letting you know. Okay, the number you have is different. Does that matter?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Oh,
So,
this is the right one. The one people see is the correct.
okay, can we make sure we have the correct one tomorrow? And can I just say something before we go any further? Richard, who actually develops the best C60 in the world, will be on our show tomorrow, 12 noon. There's lots of people asking questions about C60. And the reality is tomorrow on at noon Central Time, we're going to answer all the questions. So we'll actually go through here and we'll pull some of your questions. If there is any C60 questions, I'll have my guys do that. But tomorrow we'll be on here with Richard. Let's just stick to the iodine if we can, guys, today. And the reason why everybody's asking questions, I get it, is because we have our Black Friday sale and everybody wants to stock up on product. But we will go through everything tomorrow, okay? All right? This is Terry's show, and you have no idea the tantrum he'll have if I start talking about something else. It's just beyond me. Okay, I'm kidding. Okay, so do we have any other questions there, guys?
Yes.
Okay, what about iodine in MS? Allie, go ahead. Terry?
Multiple sclerosis.
Yes, sir.
That's one that they're actually going to have to get on and take a look, because there's people right now with Parkinson's disease that are looking at the effects of iodine and when the Parkinson's sort of onsets and how we can help, I guess, slow that process down or eliminate it, because they're actually tracking it back to when we're much younger. There's certain things that we're missing, oddly enough, in our diet that are now coming out in certain things later on in life. But with regards to multiple sclerosis, I'd be happy to get in contact with this person after the fact and take a look at what literature is available and what work has been done to help explain it if it's out there.
And understand something. There's a lot of literature out there, everyone, that says that MS has its foothold in the large intestine. So I guarantee you, every MS person that I've seen has a bowel problem, and they have a huge one. Nancy, floaters in my eyes.
Yep, you went through that, I guess, a couple of weeks ago, Daryl, with regards to...
And what you do, everyone, is you spray the iodine in, and it's going to get rid of them. But we like to use the infinite iodine. I'm going to tell you something. There's nothing like the infinite iodine for eyes, and it's not because Terry's on the show. There's nothing like it for infection fighting. But I would also use our silver bullet liquid and our fulvic 50/50, and this is what I would do. I would do an eye wash with that, like get an eye cup from the drugstore and do a really good eye wash because of the floaters. And whether you got cataracts, detached retina, it doesn't matter. And do that first, and then I would put the iodine in, and it'll work a lot better. Okay. What do we got here, guys? Oh, I got to get this one. So Dawn says, why and for whom do you offer Idorol? I don't offer Idorol anymore. We might still have Idorol on our website, but the reality is Idorol is a time release, and it doesn't even come near infinite iodine. I had Idorol because it was the best that it was. I liked Idorol better than I liked Lugos and Nascent. There you go, because of the time release effect. And I do. But the reality is guess what? It doesn't even come near infinite iodine. And if it did, I'd still be selling it. But, okay, my wife has rheumatoid arthritis. Can she take this product? Mike Dowling. Absolutely. Are you kidding? Anybody can take this product from A to Z illness, and it's going to help. And if your wife has rheumatoid arthritis, then guess what? She's been going to the wrong practitioner for years. Or she hasn't been going to anyone, because arthritis just means inflammation of the joint, which means she has displaced calcium, she has scar tissue in her joint. And guess what? You bring her to us, and I'll give you a money-back guarantee that in the first treatment, we'll get rid of 50 to 80% of her problem. How's that? Is that good enough? That's minimal. We could even do up as high as 90%. Understand something. I'll give a money-back guarantee to anyone the first time they come to us for treatment. If we don't do more than everything they've ever got, then we'll do it for free. And that's it. All right. So let me see. Gene, I have been taking infinite iodine for a few months, and it makes all the difference. Coincidentally, just this morning, my sister texts that she has been diagnosed with an underactive thyroid. I'm trying to convince her to try this product before the doctor poisons her with prescriptions. Let me tell you something. Isn't it something? I'm trying to convince my sister, because guess what? We don't think logically. We're all programmed. So we might as well just become robots anyways. I think we should. I think we should get the chip. I think that we should do the Tesla thing and drill into our head, because guess what? We're all programmed anyways. You know, want to know something? The majority of the population is only in the present moment 2 to 5% of the day. And that's why nobody's healing. That's why nobody's taking a stand. And that's why nobody's thinking. Okay. They've drank the Kool-Aid way too long, and they've eaten incorrectly way too long, and everybody's been dumbed down. Tell me they aren't. Okay. Tell me they aren't. Tell me they don't do dumb things. You know what? We have the ability to unleash the genius inside of ourselves and everyone else if we choose to take our life back and if we choose to not follow the herd. That's it, because we're being sold by the pound, and that's it. Allie, I have been using it in my eye as I had herpes on my corneal, apparently, and the doctor called the other doctors in to have a look at my eye at the time, and I was in a very stressful relationship, and thank goodness I got away. Well, there you go. Lewis, I can attest to the benefits of infinite iodine and iodide. It works as stated and is the best I've found after trying many different types. Thank you. Alice, can I really safely spray iodine in my eyes? I have cataracts. Can I say this and then you take it over? Okay, if you've got cataracts, you better get Tesla glasses, because they'll help you reverse it, because blue light poisoning is one of the main reasons for cataracts. Hey, do you remember when people used to read by candlelight and nobody had cataracts? Okay, between the LED lighting, watching too much TV, being on your iPad, looking at your phone, okay, being on the computer, that's why cataracts. Does everybody understand that right now 15,000 teenagers are being diagnosed with cataracts in China every day? Did you know that cataracts are now being found in children from 12 to 18 years old right now? Okay, are we ready for this? It's blue light poisoning. And first of all, you're burning your brain, and your brain says, I'm going to put a coating over top of your eye to try to stop the blue light from destroying your brain, and you're not going to be able to see very good, but I'd rather have you not see good than burn your brain. And will the iodine help the cataracts like you wouldn't believe? Because your eye is inflamed and it's infected. Terry, you want to take it?
Yeah, well said, Daryl. Okay, it was straightforward. Yep.
Rhonda, so if I get the infinite iodine and iodide, 5 sprays in a mouth a day of each, that's what I would do. That's all I do. And I'll tell you something. Does anybody hear my little snotty nose that I had for about the last 10 days because I overworked and guess what, and didn't play enough? Anyways, so I was doing the infinite iodine probably about 4 to 6 times a day, 5 sprays. I did the iodide once a day. Okay. All right. And then I was nebulizing when I went home. So that's a lot of iodine. So I'm still here to talk about it. Can't believe it. It's amazing. Okay. Tracy, what's the youngest age it can be taken? Well, let's start with giving it to them while they're in your womb. Does it have similar benefits for children? Do they even need it? Oh, that's yours, Terry.
Oh, Lord. Yes, Lord. It's not only similar benefits, kids need it desperately from conception. Not even the day they're born, from conception, they have to have it. Then you talk about the day that they're born, they need to have, an adult needs 150 minimum. A 1-year-old child needs a 1-day-old child needs 110 micrograms a day. So do they need it? Yes, they need it. They need it desperately because it's one of the fundamental building blocks, as we talked about earlier, for the skeletal structure, the nervous system, and the brain. And our brains continue to grow until we're in our early 20s. So the fact is, all children need this desperately in order to actually have a healthy future. And if they're lacking in one simple micronutrient, being an iodide in their diet, it will have huge health impacts on them as they start to grow up. There's attention deficit that they look at in school that they're now relating to this. We don't want to get into the sort of autism range, but as far as our intellectual development goes, iodide has been proven for the last 140 years that we have to have it. So it's just a matter of, can we get it to the kids? The infinite iodine product and iodide are the simplest way to get it to children because it's easy. You spray it in your mouth. Okay?
Yeah, and can I tell you a little story? So anyways, so I have a client call me, patient, whatever, and she calls up and she says, I can't spray it into my newborn's mouth. And I said, well, what about this? Are you breastfeeding? She said, yes. I said, spray it on your nipple. And guess what? We're off to the races.
Simple.
Yeah, simple nipple. There you go. Joanna, if I'm taking if I'm taking C60 and fulvic acid, do I need to take iodine? Well, it's like this. If I eat fruit, do I need to eat vegetables? That's all that is. That's yeah, you want to do both. You
Yes.
want the array. C60 doesn't do what iodine does, and iodine doesn't do what C60 does, and fulvic acid, they do different. So I'll get into the C60 thing tomorrow. And if you go back and look at the show I did with John Schrager, just when was that? Yesterday. Okay. And then you can go and take a look at that. You'll find out that they do different things. You got to understand, I only have like 5 products that I believe that will rock anyone's world. I have other ones, but there's 5 that will, you know, lay the law down when it comes to immunity. Okay. Let me see where else, guys. Where are we going here? Junita. Dr. Darrell, my blood sugar is high in the mornings. What should I be doing to get it under control? Do you want to take that, Terry, or should I?
Well, I'll touch on it for a minute, because something that
Please.
we've seen, something that we've seen with a lot of patients that have got diabetes, and this is something that there has been clinical work done with high levels of iodine and diabetes. And I was actually surprised when we're talking about delivering it as a micronutrient at 150 micrograms. And we have an enormous amount of diabetic patients that have actually written in and say, since I've been on the iodine, it's now been a month and a half, my blood chemistry is starting to balance. We have people that are out 3 months, 6 months, 8 months, and are still using it, and it's helping balance their blood chemistry every day. So understand diabetes, there's some issues with it. Will iodine help? This is what people are coming back, because they were actually, if people have got blood chemistry issues or they're diabetics, they understand they've got a weak immune system. And this is why they started to take the iodine, was to sort of help make sure that if they were going to run into somebody that either had a cold or a flu, they were going to be as best protected as they could. And this was, once again, one of the side effects that they came back and said, some people are going more energy, less weight, better mental clarity. The people that are using our product that are diabetic, they're actually coming back and saying, helping balance blood chemistry. And the clinicals are there for big quantities of iodine. But oddly enough, because of the absorption and the availability, and that's just an assumption on my part, I'm not a doctor, but based on our assumption and availability of absorption, it's getting the job done at a much lower level that's safe for us to take.
Great. Thank you. Okay. What do we got, guys? Okay. Mike, my wife has rheumatoid arthritis. Can she take this to cure herself? Well, first of all, a cure is something that you do daily. You create the perfect day for yourself and you repeat it every day. And that's the only cure. There is no other cure. Everything else is just a fallacy. She has stopped her medication and has been having bioresonance treatment for the 7 months, and thus has worked. Well, that's nice. So if it's working, but she definitely needs it. But I'll let Terry take that. Terry, go ahead, please.
Yeah, and once again, Daryl, it doesn't really matter what your physical condition is. We need to have it every day to help all of our different functions or systems within our bodies to function correctly. So, like I said, it's whether or not it's, some people are diabetic, some people have rheumatoid arthritis, some people have cancer, some people have these issues and those issues. We all need it every day, and it is going to help with our body defend from these types of things that we're actually combating. So yes, you have to have it. If you don't have it, it's going to make it worse. Is maybe another way to look at that.
Thank you, my friend. Okay. Kathy, what about Candida? How does the infinite iodine or iodide work, and which one is the one I should be using? Go ahead.
Well, that one I'm going to let you answer. I'll just touch on it a little bit, okay? Because there's different products out there, and I've dealt with people that have toenail fungus, for example, all right? And they soak their toes in iodine, and the fungus is gone, and they have healthy nails, and it takes a long period of time to do that. But the fact is, there's also certain people that they're soaking their toes, and their toes only get maybe 60, 70% better, and it doesn't go away after that. And we started to look into it, and it was a systemic issue dealing with too much fungus running through their bodies. So, for example, in that case, there are different products out there in order to balance the funguses within your system, trying to go after specifically that. But I'll let Daryl sort of continue on from there. But that's what I've seen, because I was dealing with toe fungus issues for a few years with a certain industry. This is what we found out about Candida and the issues within our systems, because if you start having too much fungus overrunning your body, it's like any other microbial issue, whether it's a viral one, a fungal one, or a bacterial one. You're not going to be healthy when you're going through that process. And it does need to be, as Daryl puts it, aligned and balanced.
Okay, so here's my little take on this, okay? And this, yeast is important, fungus is not. So let's get that really clear. We need yeast. Yeast will turn into fungus, and that's the deal. And understand something. If you've got fungus, then you've done antibiotics. And if you've got bad fungus, you've done lots of them, or you've taken in lots of chemicals, lots of drugs, or you've eaten lots of sugar, dairy, lots of gluten. Just put it this way. You've been trying to kill yourself on an unconscious level because you have. Now, let me explain something. The worst thing that you'll ever do is taking antibiotics, but you don't know that you're taking them in when you're taking in milk, do you? That you're taking in cheese, do you? That you're taking in almost any animal product that you eat, unless it's certified organic. So you need to understand that part. Now let's understand what is an antibiotic. Well, I tell you and teach that everything is vibrational, right? And you're not going to hear this anywhere but this because I made this up. And then you can challenge me if you'd like. Come on my show. Next Tuesday, I'll be doing a Q&A and you can come on and challenge the heck out of me because I love it, okay? My life's getting a little boring. Okay, now, so here's the deal. So antibiotics do not vibrate above zero. They don't even vibrate at zero. They vibrate below zero. And because they vibrate below zero, guess what you just did? Oh, so sweet, isn't it? You just turned on the death vibe. And when you turn on the death frequency, because guess what? We don't really get fungusy until we're dying. But if you're alive and you do antibiotics, you turn these critters on. And they're called drill bit critters. And they mainly get turned on in your large intestine. And they drill holes in your large intestine and even in your small intestine. We call that leaky gut. Now you've got a screen door, okay, for an immune system. So that means that now you're pooping into your pelvis. Now you've got trapped protein particles going in. Now you got the fungus. They drilled the holes. They go through into your bloodstream. And now we call it systemic candidiasis. Isn't that cool? So now you've got sinus infections. Now you've got hearing problems. Now you've got ringing of the ears. Now you've got can't think straight. You're getting all foggy. Now guess what you've got? You've got vaginitis. Oh my gosh, you got jock itch. Oh my gosh. Now you've got eczema. And what's gotten under your skin? Well, the fungus. And now you've got eczema. Then it goes to psoriasis because eczema is the little brother of psoriasis. They're the same thing. It's just the psoriasis is you didn't get looked after with the eczema, but you didn't go back and heal the leaky gut, though, did you? And understand when you get green toes, black toes, yellow toes, you're precancerous. And understand something. If you don't get rid of that color of your toes, and I'll tell you something right now, the iodine is amazing for that. But I have people that will have fungus toes so bad it's green, brown, black. They are ugly. The nails, the ugliest thing you've ever seen. We have to use what's called a cell sonic, which is 24,000 volts. And then we show that fungus where it's going to go fast because fungus is a cancer. Now, I'm not saying that it's not just a cancer because anytime you have any disease, it's a parasite party. You got worms, you got fungus, and you got bad bacteria. Anybody that's got a fungal problem's got worms. Anybody that's got worms has got fungus. So you know what? If you vibrate low, you get to have all the parasites come in and just feed off of you. So until you bring your vibration back up because you knocked it down with the atomic bomb called antibiotics, or just, you know, you don't really realize it, but the way the average person lives, they're destroying themselves. Tell me they're not. You know, I'll challenge anyone to try to keep up with me for one day and do the things I do. Because understand something, everything is vibration. And you need to get this. And if you've got fungus, anything in your body, you're already on your way out. Okay? So that is the thing. And you know what I really love? I just got to say this. I'm coming right back to you, Terry. Okay? Dr. Wolf, I had mold. Everything's about mold now. I'm going to tell you something. There's mold wherever you go in the world, in the environment. But guess what? It's not going to bother me because you're already moldy inside. You get a little mold outside on the wall or outside anywhere, and it's enough to take you down because you don't have an immune system. Because we compare ourselves to the majority of the population. Does everybody know that the medical system brings down the average rate of health for that age of person every 5 years, and they've been dropping it for 75 years? Okay, let me tell you something. The guy that's 65 years old doesn't look like me. I'll tell you that. The guy that's 45 years old is not as healthy as me. I just went and got an insurance policy because I had to do it because my business has grown so big. I've never had insurance in my life, but I had to go and get it. And I went and did an insurance policy. And you know what they said? I'm a healthy 30-year-old. I'm a healthy 30-year-old. I'm 65, for God's sakes. Thank you, God. Okay. All right. Where are we?
Can this be used for dogs?
Okay, Sally. Can this be used for dogs? Terry?
Can it be used for?
Dogs.
Yes. Easiest way to put it. You can spray it on the dog. You can spray it in his mouth. If he's got cuts and abrasions, iodine, it'll work as iodine and help get rid of the skin issues on a dog the same way it would as a human.
Good. So he's saying that you can teach an old dog new tricks. Great. Lauren, is it better to take this internally or spray it on your arms? Thank you, Daryl and Terry.
Internally, 100%. This product is designed to be taken internally. If you'd like to spray it on your arm, it's because you've got, you've got acne on your face, or if you've got, a cut on your arm, you put it on your arm. This is not a product that you put on your skin to become a micronutrient. This is the micronutrient you spray right in the back of your throat.
Yeah, but let me make this perfectly clear. If you've got eczema or psoriasis, I want you to clap around the area, and then I want you to take your clapper and clap right on the eczema and psoriasis. And then when it starts to bleed and get a little pussy, then I want you to soak the infinite iodine in. I want you to put a cotton pack of it right on top, and let's knock it out of there. Okay, so that's how that works. Okay, so you got to break the skin, a little bit of blood, a little bit of pus. And that's why, women with breast cancer, you might want to call me about the infinite iodine strategy that we have for you. But here's the deal. You get a woman that starts to have blood and pus come out of her breasts and it starts to open up. Don't freak out. Let me tell you something. I had a lady, out of Africa, and her breast grew 3 times larger than the other breast. It was so painful. It went on for like 7 months. And I kept saying to her, please just calm down. It's great. We're right on track. Terry, we sent her, remember? We sent her how many liters of iodine to get her to do the breast cancer iodine therapy. You want to know? You don't know about this, do you, Terry?
No, I don't. I haven't heard.
Well, I'm going to tell you. Okay, I said, just relax. And her husband's just going, ah. And I don't blame him, because it's getting bigger and bigger and it's ready to pop. And then it got on it. Guess what it got? 6 heads. 6 heads open, 6 heads on it. Those heads opened up, pus and blood coming out. And guess what? The breast is the same size as the other one. The cancer's gone. So there you go. So the reality is, if you didn't have somebody like me holding the line, they would have wanted to chop it off. Now she gets to keep it. They want a radiator or chemotherapy or gosh knows what else they're going to throw at her. And understand, I didn't make this story up. We get this story all the time. So when you see a head growing on your breast and then it opens up and it's a big ulceration, it's going to heal. So now what's going to happen is, soon as things calm down, Sage is going to go over there and teach your husband and her how to do the non-surgical technique. He's going to go in after the healing, and all the scars that were created from the ulcerations, he's going to get rid of them, because that's all it is. After any type of a healing like that, you need to take the scar tissue apart, because the scar tissue is still going to be in there. And if you don't get rid of the scar tissue, it's a physical block. A physical block cuts off the oxygen. We could get another tumor down the road. Especially, you know what they say? We got the tumor. Did we get the belief? But this lady worked on her belief. Her and her husband worked on their marriage, worked on how much they love and care for themselves and each other. And that's why this woman got to keep her breasts. Plus, what did we send over there? I think it was 12 liters of iodine, right?
Yeah.
So, there you go. All right, where are we here? Debbie Daffison, how much and how often would you use this for a sinus infection? Can I answer this? You know what? Keep it with you all the time. Oh, my sinuses are irritating. Do it. Keep it with you all the time. Take it in the car. Take it with you wherever you go. And make sure you have enough in there, okay? And just keep using it. Okay, and understand this, the more dairy, the more gluten, the more alcohol, the more sugar, okay, the more antibiotics, okay, the more dead animals you eat that you don't break down, the more mucus congestion you create. Okay, so that's it. So if you take a look at your body, get into a perfect day diet, get into doing this and do it as often as you need it. Because remember what I told you? If you got a 5-foot hole, we get a 5-foot ladder. If we got a 20-foot hole, we get a 20-foot ladder. What do you think, Terry?
Bang on, Daryl. Okay, as far as nasal infections and things like that, iodine is going to help enormously. It just does. Okay, it deals with infection regardless of where it is in your body, and if you can access it easier immediately, you're going to have faster results.
Absolutely. And I've had this question come up 4 times now. I hope you don't mind.
Yeah.
And it's right. Where was that now? So now 4 times is enough. Debbie Drong, anything to help with frequent UTIs. Now understand something, everybody. I'm going to make it as quick as I possibly can. Your bladder sits right in front and on top of the last 4 inches of your large intestine. So I keep telling everybody you're pooping in your pelvis. How could you ever have infections in your blood or any other physical problems unless you've been pooping in your pelvis all your life? And I show this in a video to prove it. Your pelvis is like a soup bowl, and now it's a poop bowl. Okay, and we don't realize about the leaky gut in our large intestine. We think it's in our small intestine. So what we want to do is you want to take silver bullet, you want to take infinite iodine, okay, infinite iodine. You want to take fulvic bright eyes. You want to take frankincense, okay, and then what you want to do is you want to take silver bullet gel. And then what you're going to do is you're going to get an ear syringe bulb, or you're going to get like just a syringe. You're going to put your butt up in the air so it's higher than the rest of your body, so you're on a slant. Then you're going to inject this about 1 tablespoon to 3 tablespoons, depending on how severe the problem is, of silver bullet gel. You're going to do 5 to 15 sprays of the iodine right in to the silver bullet gel. You're going to only put about 6 to 8 drops of the fulvic bright eyes. You're going to put anywhere from 2 drops of frankincense. I've had women do all the way up to 20 drops of frankincense into the mixture. Okay, you're going to mix that and you're going to inject it in, and you might do that 3 times a day. And I don't care what the problem is. That bladder infection, you're going to heal it, because if you've had a bladder infection all the time, then guess what? You are so infected in your vagina, you have no idea. Okay, because if that bladder's infected, so is a whole vaginal canal. And if you go into the vaginal canal, you're going to get the bladder, you're going to get the uterus, you're going to get the ovaries. Okay, you're going to get the fallopian tubes, and you're going to nail this thing. But understand, get yourself some daily cleansing tea and some black gold and tummy love, and do what I just told you. And I don't care how long you've had the bladder infection for, it's going away. And yeast infections, which is really a fungal infection, because the yeast went fungus. The yeast is not the problem. It's the fungus that it turned into. Okay. Mike, iodine can help, but ultimately, if you have a pile of undigested flesh in your gut, this is inflammatory. Okay, good. Best way to stop. Okay, do we have any others here? Can you guys see any, or are we done? What is the difference between, oh, we did that already. Yeah, I can't repeat it. I think we're good. Okay, we're good. What do you think, Terry? Are we good?
Yeah, it was a very good show,
Anyways,
Daryl.
you know what? We need to let Terry go out and have a swim before he has to put his mask on and go home to bed. Okay, because he's in Jamaica, and when the sun goes down, okay, all the viruses come out. Okay, and understand something, guys. Just so you know this, I don't believe in any part of this. Okay, I don't believe in the V or the C. I believe in me. What do you think, Terry? What do you got to say?
I'm with you, Daryl. Okay, and the education is always a fun thing to do with you, and it's a matter of getting the message out there and getting the right message out there, because there is so much misinformation that goes on. And I like the way that you present this. It's very straightforward, and this is something, infinite iodine and infinite iodide are products that we have to have in our diet every single day. Use which one you would like for the benefit for you, but you have to take it. This isn't one where, maybe I won't do it this week. No. We have to have it every day, and put the bottle beside your toothbrush in the bathroom if you need to. So when you brush your teeth, you spray your iodine and you start your day. You've get into the habit, and it's got to be something that not only for yourself, but it's also for the rest of your family. Because as we've talked about, kids need it more than we do. You and I are old. We're at a certain point.
Hold on, Terry. Hold on, Terry.
Yeah.
You're old. I'm not. Come on. What?
Yeah.
Come
It's
on.
over 60 in our lifetime. My point is, all of us need it, but most importantly, our children. And it doesn't matter whether the kids are 1 or 2 years old or 30 years old. Tell them. Okay, you're sitting around the table with your family, and it's usually from grandparents down to the grandchildren are there. This is a wonderful opportunity to say this is something simple. The whole family needs it. It doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman or a child. We all have to have it. And that's the conversation that really needs to happen around the table. And it's not a tough one. And say, put this beside the toothbrush and use it every day. The kids, it's going to be terrific for them to grow up and have to deal with less health issues than we are today. So that's the whole intent, is to actually be healthier as we get into the next generations versus deteriorating. I guess the easiest way to put it. And the swing to go from the so-called traditional medicines that we've been having for the past 40, 50, 60, 70 years are now starting to actually open up and realize that the natural stuff is really important as well. Okay. So that's the beauty of actually bringing something from that people at one point thought was a medical product because it's iodine related to hospitals. Well, no, it's actually something we need in our diet. There was a big disconnect that happened. And the re-education is pulling this thing back together to say iodine and iodide are critical in our systems every day. Pick one, but you've got to use it.
Thank you, Terry. And thanks for joining me. And just so you know, he's in Jamaica, so don't worry. Be happy. Okay, Terry?
Yeah. I'm only here for a couple more days,
Okay.
but I have to tell you, it's been swimming in the ocean like you are, that close to it, man. We all need to be here every day, really.
Yeah, and if I can say something before you go, Terry, everybody get the heck out of the cities, because that's where the harvest is going to begin in about 6 to 7 weeks. So get out of the cities if you can. Sell your place. Go to the country. Go be with someone, because it's going to go crazy. Just remember I said that. Okay, don't be in any cities, because it's too easy to harvest a human being there. Okay, be in the woods. Okay, because remember something, 5G can't go through a tree. Okay, go hug a tree today and get out of that cement jungle, because they're coming for us. Anyways, everybody, I want to thank you for joining me. Terry, thanks for joining me, and we'll have Terry back in about 3 weeks to a month. Okay, all right, is that good with you, Terry?
Last comment, Daryl.
Yeah.
Buy infinite iodine, and you're actually going to have a little more freedom to get out and enjoy life. Very simple. How can it get simpler than that? You spray a product in your mouth, you know your immune system is going to be strong, so you can get back to enjoying life again.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right,
Okay.
my friend. Have a good afternoon. We'll talk soon.
Hey, you know what, Terry? Why don't we really try the product? And what I want you to do is I want you to stay out all night tonight. Okay. And then call me tomorrow and let's see if you're still alive. Okay.
Well, the funny thing is, I'm on the resort here, and you know me, Daryl. I've got all of the staff working here wanting iodine tomorrow. So it ain't rocket science, okay? And it doesn't matter whether or not where your station is in life. We all need it, and the explanation is simple. And there's, like I said, how can you be an naysayer about something that is so important, so healthy for you? But they are out there, okay? However, the only way that you can address this is with facts and the truth coming out with 100% natural product. And that way you know that there's no chemicals, there's no additives, there's nothing else mixed in there. This is 100% for us. Very simple.
Great. Thank you very much, Terry, for joining me.
Much appreciated, man. Have yourself a good afternoon.
God bless, my friend. So everybody, wouldn't it be great if we were logical? I mean, Terry's in Jamaica and he's got to be in by dark because the viruses come out at night. I guess they're like vampires, right? And over there, they have a full moon every night. Who really knows? But I'm not going for it. And, I never did. And the reality is I'm not going to put up with that nonsense. And don't you either. You get logical about your life and you stand up for yourself. Okay. And don't wait for your family to make the decision that we should do some iodine. Start doing it. Start looking after yourself first and foremost. I know that we've been taught to look after everybody else, but guess what? When we start doing it ourselves, and we stand in our power, then that's the only way we become a light for our families. And that's the God's truth. Now, tomorrow, just know we have the Black Friday sale. I'll just say that. So it's the biggest discount you're going to get on this product. And that's the truth. And we do this once, and we might do it twice a year. I don't really know. I'm not the guy that does it. Okay. So tomorrow, okay. So today, oh no, let me just put it this way. Today we're going to do a rerun of Richard and C60. And I will prove to you that we do make the best C60 in the world, and most of the other C60 is fraudulent, and take it or leave it. Now, tomorrow we're going to do a live Q&A, and I want you to come in and test us about Carbon 60. I hope you know that Carbon 60 is becoming illegal in France because they don't want people using it because it actually brings down the negative side effects of the vaccine. Go figure, when it's not even a vaccine. Isn't that something? Everything's just cuckoo out there. I think I'll just stay in my own little world here. I've created what's called Ixtapa World Healing Training Center. And we've got about 200 people here right now. And they're doing the same thing. They're minding their own business, going to the beach, not wearing masks, eating really great food, playing volleyball. We got our juice bar opening up. So, I mean, come on. Seriously, when we're all done, okay, with the frenzy and the hairy-carry, the world's ending, it's only beginning for me. Thank you very much. Tomorrow I'll be interviewing Richard. You can ask all the questions you want on C60. C60 is the highest vibrational molecule on the planet, so you better get that. Okay, it goes in and it does amazing things, and you'll find out what. On Thursday, like I said, I'll be with him, and it'll be at 12 noon tomorrow. Friday, okay, I'm going to be with Tom Muhlbauer, and we're going to be talking about, okay, the power of your microcirculation and how your microcirculation depends when you're going to go to the nursing home or the hospital and how long you're going to live. And we're going to talk about a device that's called the Avicin that we put on sale that was $4,000. It's now on for $2,800, well, $2,795. And when we've sold 100, then Thomas is going to cut us off from selling them. So that's the cheapest they've ever been. Check it out if you like it. I don't really know. Can we scroll up, please? Wakey, wakey, somebody, there's two guys over there. Upcoming courses, New World Practitioner certification, okay, starts, can we erase the other one? It's already over. January the 12th, not the 14th, it says. So January the 12th, we will be doing our New World Practitioner course. And guess what? You can come and do just the Whole Life Coach, which is for 10 days, or the non-surgical, Wolf non-surgical, which is actually about 12 days long, or you can do it all, plus stay for the 5 bonus days, which is about 28 days. But why don't you come down and spend a month with us, okay? And make sure you call the airline and check those rules for fools, like little Justin telling everybody that you need 2 vaxes to go here and there. That guy's just like amazing, isn't he? So the reality is check the airlines to see what you really need to fly here, to go back, okay? And also go to braveheartnation.com, where we tell you what's going on down here in Mexico and why you might want to come and visit, get treatments, get training. How about our personal treatment and trainings? Go to personaltreatmentandtraining.com. We do 6 different trainings, right from the perfect pain-free pregnancy to the couple's emotional and physical training. Okay, we've got 6 different ones. Check them out. You'll come down, come for a holiday. Come down just for treatments if you want, or just come down and come to my morning lectures. They're for free. Boy, yeah, I know. You don't want to put up with that much, do you? I'd drive you crazy. Okay, so anyways, so we'll have a training in January 12th, and then we'll have another one in February, okay? And that will be February the 14th, all right? And you can catch all the shows we can't keep up here and everything else that we do on t.me/the Doc of Detox, and that's on Telegram, okay? And on Rumble, and we're on Bitchute, and we're also on Odyssey. Okay, can we keep going down? And that's about it, everyone. But you know what you want to do? If you're new here, go log into my library. It's the most powerful self-care, self-love library in the world. And guess what? Make sure you come back on Tuesday, because then I let you come on at 12 o'clock and you can challenge me with all your questions. And if you go to newworldpractitioner.com, you can sign into Zoom and you can even challenge me live. How about that? Pretty cool, eh? All right. God bless. Have the best day of your life. You know, it's not good enough to have the most powerful courses, treatments, and training. We want to deliver to you the adventure of a lifetime that's going to last a lifetime. And I'm going to take you on a little adventure right now and show you what we are going to deliver. What are we going to deliver? We are going to deliver the authentic you, the real you, the genius inside. How would you like to become not just the master of your mind, but the master of your body, the master of your life? You know what? The most important world is your world, and we're about to show you how to create it. Never limit yourself to beautiful, because that's what you are. Take a look at this beautiful place. We all deserve beauty in our life. You need to create a new program that is unlimited when it comes to things that are beautiful, things that make you happy, things that make you shine, things that make you feel excited. Let's get excited. What I've learned in my life is this: to be the change you wish to be the change you wish to see, Braveheart, you have to understand you take life one step at a time. Never lose your focus. Never lose your dream, because you are the dream maker. It's called image, but guess what? It's your imagination. The image that you hold creates the thought that you live with. That thought creates an emotion that creates a frequency, and we know that the invisible creates the physical. I mean, that's quite obvious. So be the power that you seek, and understand something, that all your thoughts matter. And guess what? Unless you're willing to take a look at those thoughts and retrain your brain, change your personality, you'll never change your reality, and your reality could become infinite. You were created by your creator to create. So let's create something amazing together. So tell me what you think of the destination that I came up with my imagination to hold the whole life coach certification for you. Understand something. It's all about beauty. It's all about adventure. It's all about stimulating the mind, okay? And understanding that your mind is unlimited. And that is what the Whole Life Coach certification is all about. In the Whole Life Coach certification, we are going to go deeper. We have people coming to us, professionals coming to us, from doctors to nurses to accountants to oil riggers to mothers that want to expand their life. And when they come here, they go, I need to learn to help my family, or I want to improve my business. But guess what? We get into their business. When they leave, they become the change that they wish to see, that they wish to be. They become the gift to the world, because when you can stay in the present, and you can't do that until you have unconditional love and care for yourself. And I'll tell you something right now. I have hardly even found 1 out of 1,000 practitioners, or even so-called whole life coaches, that can hold the present moment and own it and then give it as a gift. And this is what I'm going to give to you. And when you come here, this is where you're going to come into this room when you need to find alignment, you need to find balance, and you need to get back into your lion heart breath, because we're going to go deep into your heart, and we're going to become the spark that you seek. Come play, come stay, come train with us today. Understand something. I know we have fear, but understand, that's just false evidence appearing real. I get it. Stick your toe in, feel the water, but then I want you to dive right in, because you're the answer that you've been looking for. Let me teach you how to fly. What does that mean? First, love yourself, Braveheart. Let's take life in and win. I had a dream 3 years ago that I would live in Mexico, and I would have this training center, this teaching center, this treatment center that would touch the world. Your dreams are never too big. And when they start to create a little bit of anxiety, turn them into excitement. And get excited, because this is your life. And this, my friend, when you take on the dream of all dreams, and you realize that if you stay connected to your breath, that you can have it all. Do not let anybody take your breath away. Do not let anybody steal your dream, okay? Listen, God gave you imagination. This is your sandbox of life. Take your life back. Right now, we are teaching courses to people that have come from all over the world, and the government is saying you can't travel, you can't breathe, you can't have this, you can't come together. Yes, we will. And we will do it with unconditional love for each other. And we will learn to grow. We will not judge each other. We'll observe and see where we can support each other. But at the same time, we will hold the Braveheart line, because this is the only way that we can grow. So find your roar, because you're so much more. And learn this. You are the unconditional love that you've been looking for. You are the dream maker. I can't wait to see you. We want to become that small piece of the puzzle that brings your dream together. Thank you. So what is a New World Practitioner? Well, a New World Practitioner is somebody that understands that training comes before treatment.
Have I noticed any changes in myself since taking this course? Oh, yes. Yes, I have. I definitely have.
There's so much more ahead of you, and there's so much more that you can find within yourself, and there's so much that you can let go of to free yourself. And I'm excited to be able to help others find their power.
It's not a treatment. It's like a restoration. You can renew your body. And I didn't understand what was preventing me from healing.
I guess this is where I kind of get emotional, because Daryl truly cares, not only for himself, but humanity in general. And he wants to educate people to live their best lives and learn to love themselves first before anybody else.
The Whole Life Coach certification. We go deeper in that 8 days than anybody else goes when it comes to learning how the invisible creates the physical, the psychological creates the biological. And we teach you about energy medicine and about vibration and frequency, because that's all it is.
He really cares for everybody. He wants to educate as many people as he can, their own healers / practitioners. He wants to get the knowledge out.
Dr. Wolf and the whole crew, Sage and his bodywork techniques, learning it, everybody here has just been so incredible. They're so supportive. It's been a really cool experience.
I've seen nothing but incredible results day after day, hour by hour, while they work on people who get finally the effect and result that they've looked for everywhere else and never got. So they're amazing, amazing.
On a daily thing, I'm becoming more flexible and more pain-free. It's a process of treatments because of the damage I've done to my body. But yeah, I expect to be doing backflips. You know, I'm 64 years old. I'll be doing backflips.
When it comes to the Wolf non-surgical certification, nobody can pull fibroids apart or reverse joint, muscle, tendon, ligament problems or scar tissue from surgery quicker than we can. And we offer a money-back guarantee to all our patients. Now, why would we do that? because we pull off the I am possible and we reverse the irreversible.
They're so professional, yet so fun. They know how to push you to your limit. They encourage you, so it's all positive training, and really every one of them has a piece that they offer to the business, and they don't miss things. They let you go to the next level.
To use my love and light to be in service of others. And that's part of healing, right? Where as my elbow is connecting to that skin, you know, I'm delivering my frequency to the person that's seeking that work, you know, because I will always have that love and light inside me.
And a New World practitioner understands that you can't give what you're not. So until you understand that unconditional love and care for oneself is what you need to become so that you can give that to your patients, don't expect a different outcome than every other practitioner out there. And that's what we teach here, because you need to become what you want to see in all of your patients. Let me ask you a question. What do you think it would take to turn your life around? I can tell you right now, I learned that a long time ago, what the key was. And anybody that has been able to perfect the perfect day on an emotional, physical, and spirit level knows this. The answer is massive, personal action. That's what it's going to take for you to turn your life around. And to turn your life around, you're going to have to go within if you want to change without. And that's the bottom line. And you know, people think that they can do it like with a consultation, or maybe they can do it with a telephone call or a Band-Aid or a 911 emergency, a treatment. But understand, that's not the way it is. The day that you realize that when you master your mind is the only time you're going to master your body. Forget your life. That's always going to be just random luck until you know that you must become the master of your day. From the moment you rise until you gently close your eyes, you must be the only authority for you. And if you think that getting an hour consultation is going to do it, it's not. If you think that going for therapy is going to do it, it's not. You have to submerge yourself into what we would call the personal treatment and training. And you need to do that from anywhere from 6 days to 10 days, or you need to come for my whole life coach certification, because if you don't go in deep, you'll never make changes. They say it takes 10,000 times for you to repeat something before it becomes a prominent, dominant thought. And if you understood that 70 to 90% of all your thoughts are not yours, and they say that 70% of your thoughts are toxic, tell me they're not. Take a look at the majority of the population. 92% of the population has an autoimmune disease, which means the body is attacking itself. Before that, though, the person was attacking themselves on a subconscious, unconscious level. And that, my friend, is the bottom line, and why you must take a personal treatment and training and go deep and understand how to run your life. What that means is learning how to think, how to drink, how to eat, and knowing when somebody is mistreating you, when someone is disrespecting you, because until you honor and respect yourself, no one else is going to do it. So understand, this is your life. If you want to live your passion and purpose, then you must become the master of your mind to become the master of your body so that you can become the light for your family. So please, consider this. You've got the time and you've got the money, because you're going to change the rest of your life for the rest of your life, and that's my guarantee to you.